I go to coffee shop and I see that their pastries really are not great. I see coffee cakes, scones, cookies, muffins.
Yep.
That's it. I can bring the croissant, the laminated dough. How do I do that logistically? And this is when come to mind, I'm like, I'm gonna freeze everything. And I'm like, why don't we freeze croissant? And I got the answer, we don't freeze croissant because in France there is no need to do it. Because every single bakery is gonna sell 200 croissants a day. There is no need to have something expensive as freezer space to get your stuff, and also culturally you make the croissant fresh, no problem. Why do we freeze other products but not the croissant? Why we freeze other products but not the bread? And now we're talking about desserts. We're freezing chocolate mousse, we're freezing cakes, we're freezing Paris-Brest, we're freezing a lot of things. All companies, they have different methods, but they all freeze. They don't talk about it, but they all freeze. And the way they freeze is gonna be different. That depends their need. So every single bakery in France, if it's not huge, so most bakery, they have one baker that does all the lamination. But what happens on the weekend? They freeze the croissant, and so they are defrosted on their day off. He makes in advance, he freezes the croissant, and then the croissant is defrosted, proofed and baked. So first I'm like, okay, so they do freeze, but different way.
Yeah.
Why? And then I start to look, and I'm like, if you freeze the dough, the yeast dies, you're not regular on your product, you don't have the same quality, and it damages the product because the freezer is so strong on freezer burn, it damages the product. So what they do, they freeze just for the weekend. So every day they make a little bit extra, they freeze, and then on the day off that they have, there is a stock of croissants in the freezer, which they are all from a different day, and then they prove them for the day that they are not there. That's how they work. The baking industry in France for sure is decreasing like big time, and the industrial is taking the market space. 80% of bakery buy their croissant frozen raw and bake every single day.
From someone else?
Yes, they don't make it. That becomes a point of sale almost. From like every croissant that's sold in France, there is about 35,000 bakeries in France. 80%, that's 28,000 bakeries. So there is 28,000 bakeries that buy their croissant raw, frozen, and bake them every single day. So they're all the same from the industrial, and there is only 7,000 bakeries that makes it fresh every single day. That means you have one chance only out of 5 bakeries to have something artisanal. And so what I do is that I make an artisanal croissant and to freeze them after they're baked.